Hey, you! Do you love Bravest Warriors? Are you excited that Season 3 is finally upon us? You are? Then this video will definitely help you get ready for it. If you don't know The Bravest Warriors, it's a cartoon produced by Cartoon Hangover following the adventures of the Bravest Warriors, Beth, Chris, Danny, and Wallow, and a lovable cat bug, as they assist peeps. Bravest Warriors is created by Pendleton Ward. You may know him from another show, you know, Adventure Time. They have very similar art styles, but one is set in the future, and the other one is set in the far away, can't even believe this can probably happen, distant future. But other than their aesthetics, could there be something more? Is it possible that the Bravest Warriors and the characters in Adventure Time exist in the same universe? Same universe theories look at two different aspects from two or more shows that you can grab evidence from: the setting and the timeline. Step number 1. Do our two shows share the same setting? They actually do! Adventure Time takes place in the land of Oo, which is on Earth. The Bravest Warriors travel all across the galaxy, but their home base is located on Mars. Since Earth and Mars are located in the same solar system, we can assume that these two shows exist in the same setting. Great! Step number 1 is done. A little rhyme in there. Now that they know they share the same physical space, what about the timeline? Does the timeline make any sense if we put them together? Well, for starters, it is confirmed that Bravest Warriors is set in 3085. But what about Adventure Time? According to a previous theory that we did, we concluded that the Great Mushroom War took place around the 21st century. Evidence from issue 13 of the Adventure Time comics explains how long ago the Great Mushroom War took place. A new character named Randall N. Byron created a software version of himself to escape the end of the world 1002 years ago. He even says he did this to survive the Mushroom War. And these comics are canon since Pendleton Ward approves of all of them. Since we can't pin an exact date of when the Mushroom War happened, and the earliest is around 2000, let's say the land of Oo that Finn and Jake currently live in is 3002. This would mean that there's 83 years between Adventure Time and Bravest Warriors. We now also have to consider this. Which one came first, Adventure Time or Bravest Warriors? Well, obviously 3002 comes before 3085, so it's only natural that Adventure Time would come before Bravest Warriors, right? Well, not quite. More on that later. As far as we're concerned, let's just say that Adventure Time does come before Bravest Warriors. The technology on Earth that came during the period of the Great Mushroom War explains it all, since it's not as advanced as the Bravest Warriors technology. Let's take a look at Mars from the episode Astroclaim from Adventure Time. We can only see one space dome. This is very similar to the Mars from Bravest Warriors since there's tons of domes. In the very beginning of the episode Serial Master from Bravest Warriors, we learned from an announcement that Mars is overcrowded. Adventure Time's Mars isn't overpopulated, so this does show that it could take place before Bravest Warriors. Also, in Volume 3 of the Bravest Warriors comics, Beth has a dream about the land of Oo and the Candy Kingdom. Could she have seen it physically? Or perhaps she heard stories about this Earth that have been passed down for years. The land of Oo would sort of be a folklore by this time. Now, let's look at the possibility that Adventure Time does come after Bravest Warriors. During the episode Ultra Wankershim, the Emotion Lord teaches Chris how to see the future. In Chris's vision, we can see something flash quickly on the screen. Pause it and you'll see Earth, with a chunk missing. Where have we seen this image before? Oh, Adventure Time. During Adventure Time, when we are shown Earth, there's a part of it missing, probably due to the mushroom bomb that caused the Great Mushroom War. Since Chris is seeing the future, and the Great Mushroom War happens 1002 years before Adventure Time, then this can prove the land of Oo doesn't exist yet. Some other proof that Earth is still currently full in Bravest Warriors comes from the posters that are all around the invisible hideout. Why would the team have full images of Earth if there's a chunk missing? But what happened to the Bravest Warriors in Adventure Time? Where did they go? Why is Mars deserted? In the episode The Lich from Adventure Time, when the Enchiridion shows a map of the universe the land of Oo currently resides in, it shows Earth is now the second planet from the sun since the sun got bigger and hotter. This could have led the humans, the Bravest Warriors, and non-native Martians who live on Mars to leave the planet. The native Martians that we see in Adventure Time stayed because they originated there. As you can see, this theory really digs into if these two shows exist in the same universe, based on the evidence from both timelines and how the Earth and Mars look very similar. But does everything really line up perfectly? After explaining all that information, I'm sorry to say that there's some flaws to this theory. Let's look back at each of the different timelines. First, does Adventure Time take place before Bravest Warriors? When we look at the image of Earth during Chris's vision again, there's a bit of a difference in the chunk that's missing compared to Adventure Time's Earth. There are digital pixels forming around the chunk. Some theorists believe that the Earth is actually repairing itself. Also, during the 83 years gap, I don't think technology would advance that fast. I mean, it's been 30 years since Back to the Future came out and we still don't have hoverboards. And in Adventure Time, why don't we see any of the courageous battlers, the parents of the bravest warriors? Surely they would go to Earth to see if there were any humans left. Maybe in the new Island miniseries of Adventure Time we'll learn more about the humans. Now, what if Adventure Time does take place after Bravest Warriors? There are some significant characters that are missing from Mars if Bravest Warriors came first. Where is the King of Mars, Abraham Lincoln? Or Grob Gob Glod Grod? In case you don't know anything about these rulers, let me give you some character background. Abraham Lincoln, to you and me, is the 16th president of the United States. But in Adventure Time, he was actually the ruler of Mars for over 3,000 plus years. He's actually pretty significant in Adventure Time since he appeared in the original animated short. And fun fact, he is voiced by Pendleton Ward himself. Is this cartoon conspiracy, or is this 107 facts about Pendleton Ward shows? Grob Gob Globgrod, or let's just call him Glob for short, is a four-headed being that is known as the god of ooh. You know how LSP always says as her catchphrase, "Oh my glob"? Well, this is that glob. They protect Mars and have been doing so for thousands of years. So if Bravest Warriors did come before Adventure Time, wouldn't these characters still be around? And you can't say they possibly just went away, because, spoiler alert, you ready? They die in Adventure Time. In the episode Sons of Mars, Lincoln actually sacrifices himself to death to save Jake. And in Astroplane, Glob destroys Martin's ship, thinking it was the Catalyst Comet, and is separated into 4 floating heads orbiting Earth. If Bravest Warriors live on Adventure Time's past Mars, wouldn't we see or hear about the rulers? I guess Bravest Warriors and Adventure Time don't exist in the same universe since their timelines are so up for debate. But at least we know the multiverse exists. In The Lich, Prismo resides in the Time Room, which is the center of the multiverse. The multiverse explains that there are parallel universes that are happening at the same time that can be very different or just slightly similar. And in Adventure Time, the land of Ooh, Earth, and Mars reside in the multiverse. So the Mars and Bravest Warriors could just be a parallel Mars to Adventure Times. So with the multiverse canon, does this mean that there's a crossover in the potential future? Well, writer and director Bream Bird seems to dodge these questions during AMA Reddit sessions, and anything related to same universe theories. Just because he doesn't answer doesn't mean that there isn't a possibility that it can happen. But sadly, it doesn't really give us any information about the same universe theory. With all that being said, the same universe theory doesn't seem to work very well with the timeline in consideration. While there still is the possibility that these two series exist in the same multiverse, that doesn't technically mean that they exist in the same universe. So I would have to rate this 1 out of 5 cat bugs. Thanks for watching this episode of Cartoon Conspiracy. If you have a theory for us, leave it in the comments below. And watch Bravest Warriors Season 3 on Verve. And press subscribe to find out when we upload awesome content. Remember, Frederator loves you.